we're gonna move on. Hopefully we can get the funny train coming back in. Hopefully we can read something that's dog shit. And that's either gonna be Clockwork or Jane the Killer. I think I will do Clockwork because it's on this website. I'd have to go to a different website for Jane the Killer. Clockwork is a 19-minute read, so it is not that short, or not that long comparatively to like some of the 30-minute ones. It has my favorite tag, which is madness, paranoia, and mental illness, because when you see that, you know it's going to be a wild ride of a story full of cringe one-liners and stupid dialogue. So hopefully this will be a nice palate cleanser. That's a lot of words. Good thing I'm reading them. All right. I don't have an official art for this one either, and I don't want to steal art from someone else, so I don't have an image for this one either. So we are going to read Clockwork. Subtext, your time is up. Should I even bother putting that there? Your time is up. I'll do it. Okay. This one is there a credit to this one, or is this an anonymous writer? I notice a lot of the edgy teen stories have an anonymous writer. Credit to Soft Boys, formerly known as Lucid. So that is who wrote Clockwork. My buddy Nick did not want me to read this because he really likes Tiki Toby, and Tiki Toby gets shipped with whoever this character is all the fucking time, and that pisses him off. So let's find out why. Clockwork, your time is up. A little girl sat in her room. Her messy brown hair was put into little pigtails as her hazel eyes stared at the door. She hugged her stuffed giraffe close to her little body and listened closely to the loud yells of her father and mother. "I never should have had any damn kids!" screamed a loud, deep voice. "All they do is make messes, complain, and draw on the walls!" He was interrupted by the shrill, angry yell of the girl's mother. "They're children, David! They don't know any better!" "Oh, fuck me, Maribeth. I don't want to hear your bullshit excuses. I've had just about enough of them." "What do you plan to do about it?" The girl heard loud footsteps towards her room, and she hugged her giraffe closer. The door opened violently, and in the doorway stood her large, infuriated, overweight father, and one of his meaty hands held a large textbook. "David, stop it!" screamed his mother, but the father ignored his wife's pleading cries. He grabbed the little girl harshly by the collar, and she screamed and kicked, trembling in fear. The girl's father held up the textbook. "This is for drawing on my fucking walls, you little bitch!" Starting off not any better. Starting off... I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all of you who are listening right now. This is, I was expecting edgy teenagers, which we did get some of with Hoodie and Nina, and even Jeff, even if it was written better. I was expecting edgy teenagers. I wasn't expecting just borderline abuse. I deeply apologize. I'm gonna have to put like a trigger warning in the title of the VOD. I apologize. Okay, let's keep going. Years later, the little girl known as Natalie was now 9 years old. Going through the stage of puberty at 9, she was naturally a little chubby. Like the usual, she sat in her room watching TV. Her dad was ranting on about some economic crap that she really couldn't give less of a shit about, as she munched on some popcorn. She was also currently drawing a picture. There was a bit of gore in it, but strangely she really liked drawing blood. It gave her some weird satisfaction. Other than that, multitasking was no problem for her. It became apparent to her at a young age, after having to do so much hard work and labor, that she was able to do so many things at once. Drawing ended up being her talent and passion. It was her way from escaping from reality whenever something bad would rear its ugly head and peer in, or when she was simply bored. She suddenly heard the closing of her door, and she looked to the left, pausing on munching on her popcorn. There stood her brother, Lucas, who was 14 years old. What is it? She could still hear her father's yelling from outside the door. Dad scaring you? He let out a chuckle. No way. I think we're both used to his yelling by now. There was a long pause. So, why are you in here? He played with his sleeve slightly and twitched a bit. I have to ask you something. He trained his eyes on her. She frowned slightly, growing impatient with her brother interrupting her movie and drawing. What? He moved a little closer. You said you wanted to be cool and grown up like a teenager, right? She nodded and suddenly brightened up slightly. Well, I have an offer. Oh my god, Just spit it out, you dimwit. You know what guys and girls do together sometimes, right? Oh my fucking god, what is with these fucking stories? What the next day at school, Natalie didn't say a word. Oh my fucking god! Dude, it's I'm crashing out. I'm crashing out. The next day at school, Natalie didn't say a word. She did not speak for the whole day. She didn't have anyone to speak to anyways. Nobody could know. Nobody should know. And so, nobody would know. Her teacher picked up on a few of her puzzled expressions, but she dismissed it as if she just did not understand the lesson. Natalie also felt as if she was in severe pain. She had no idea it could hurt. Oh my fucking god, dude. Feeling scared, she walked home and silently went to her room. But later in the day, she was once again greeted by her brother. Nobody would know. At school, she finally decided to tell someone. Even though they weren't her friends, she just felt like she had to. She walked up to a group of girls she would occasionally see in the hallway. They looked like nice girls, and they and Natalie had occasionally talked before. Hey, Mia. The ginger girl looked over at Natalie with a straight face. Yeah? Mia said to Natalie. I, really need to talk to you about something. It's been going on for a while, and you and your friends, well, I feel like you're the only people I can trust. Mia and her friends seemed to pull up little smirks, but only for a moment. Little did Natalie know they were hungry for gossip. I know they're trying to, make it as traumatic as, possible so she can become a serial killer. But, dude, does it have to? Does it have to? Does it have to? Does it really have to? You'd never see Jeff the Killer get this kind of fucking treatment. No, I shouldn't be. Alright. I'm just trying to fucking lighten the mood, man. Oh my god. Alright, you can trust us. What's up? One day later was all it took. She had been getting constant remarks on social networking sites such as Facebook. One time, someone even called her a whore. Not to mention their lunch had ended up. She's 9. She fucking. I hate people, dude. I hate gossiping teenage oh my. Not to mention their lunch had ended up getting in her hair. It was going to be the least of her problems, but Natalie, being only 9, could not help but be greatly upset at this fact. However, she did not cut, she did not peep, and she never said a word about it. As you may recall, so far in this journey, she has kept everything inside. They're doing the reminder thing like they did in Jeff the Killer. Okay, it's getting a little. The writing hopefully is getting sillier. She supposed it was better. She wouldn't let any pain get the best of her. 3 a.m., school night. Her mother is going to kill her. The girl known as Natalie was now 16. She was productive in high school, close to the honor roll. For once, she felt calm. I may have found. Hi, Rose. You missed bad. Hopefully, it gets funny again. But you missed some real sad and bad. Literally, you could have not chosen a better time to pop up. Honestly, she was productive in high school, close to the honor roll. For once, she felt calm and happy. Though, like the usual, she would occasionally become a hermit in her room, hiding away from her dad, who still liked to occasionally yell and scream about the economy. Why does his dad have such a fascination with the economy, money, and politics? And all the other bullshit that she's flat out tired of hearing. Is that what her dad does every day? He just, like, screams about the fucking economy? Her eyes started to feel heavy. She had an assignment to work on, but that was no longer important to her. All that was on her mind was sleep. She closed her laptop, and after her eyes adjusted to the darkness slightly, she saw her old, worn-down stuffed giraffe in the corner. She stared at it, in complete and utter silence. Memories passed through her mind, and she felt tears come to her eyes, but quickly she blinked them back. No more breaking, she thought to herself, but she continued to stare at it. What the fuck are you looking at? Oh, wait, she said... I thought the giraffe was talking to her. Sorry. What the fuck are you looking at? She said to the stuffed object. It simply stared back with soft, black, beady eyes. I wish it would talk to her, actually, honestly. I wish her stuffed giraffe would talk to her. That would be an amazing contrast to what we just read. She looked down sadly at the little toy animal and gently picked it up in her arms. She cradled it and spoke softly to it. I'm sorry. Some tears ran down her face. She pet its rough, short fur softly as she lay down on her bed. She slowly went to sleep. She was woken up by the angry growls of her mother. Exhausted, she slowly opened one of her eyes. I can't believe I forgot to take that laptop away. You were on it all night, weren't you? Natalie sighed and pressed her face deeper into the pillow, hugging her giraffe closer. Her mother sighed and walked out. She took a shower, brushed her teeth, and ate some breakfast. And then she got dressed. She put on a gray and blue hoodie with fur inside its hood. It wasn't her favorite, but it was the only one she could wear to school due to the others being in the wash. She also put on black jeans and some thin, fashionable boots. Finally, she went down the stairs to get driven to school. She hopped in the car and her mom sped off. So I gotta say, the only reason they put that much description in what a character wears in some of these edgy teen stories, because I think this is an edgy teen story. This isn't just like a tragedy like Sally was. This is an edgy teen story, and they're just trying to traumatize her to build her up to being an edgy teen, like an edgy serial killer. They always describe how they're dressed in detail because they want fan art. Like, every time. That's why we have so much Jeff the Killer fan art. That's why we have so much Nina the Killer fan art. That's why we have so much Tiki Toby fan art. They always tell you how they're dressed so they can get, like, fan art out of it, I feel like. Especially since Jeff was, like, the first and he got a shitload of fan art. However, on the way there, due to a lack of sleep, she slowly put her head against the window of the car and began to drift off. Her dreams, or more accurately, nightmares, consisted firstly of her physical abuse as a child, secondly, of the sexual abuse she had suffered at the hands of her own brother, Lucas, The abuse had lasted for 4 years before she had the guts to turn him away. 4 fucking years. She started twitching and cringing in her sleep, but her mother took no notice. Her mother never took notice. Suddenly, she was jolted awake by the sound of her mother's voice. We're here. Her mother said with annoyance in her voice, most likely from catching Natalie napping again. She looked at the large sign of the school, which read Walkerville Collegiate Institute for the Creative Fine Arts. That's a fucking mouthful. She sighed tiredly and stepped out, putting her backpack on her shoulder. See ya, she proclaimed and closed the car door. She walked into the school and chatted with a couple of friends until she went up to her locker on the 3rd floor. She grabbed her books, and before the 5 minutes of time were over, she ran to class. Her English teacher annoyingly put her hand on Natalie's desk. Hold on, the music stopped. I don't know why it stopped. Let's do this one. Where's your assignment, Miss... Olette? Olette? Olette. O-U-E-L-L-E-T-T-E. Olette. Where's your assignment, Miss Olette? Natalie swallowed. I, forgot at home. Sorry, Miss Homenuik. Homenuik. What the fuck are these? Miss Homenuik. Your time is up, Miss Olette. Don't disappoint me. Natalie seemed puzzled by the thought for a moment. She didn't know why, but those words seemed to melt through her. By the way, your time is up is like her catchphrase. So she just got it. She just got her catchphrase from her teacher. She simply ignored it and went back to... Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Oh, it's starting to hit. It's starting to hit. The sore throat from reading. Let's have a little drink for a second. All right. She didn't, the word seemed okay. She simply ignored it and went back to listening to the lesson, and falling asleep not too long after, of course. Later that day, she was heading to her locker for 4th period, when suddenly her boyfriend, Chris! It's the return of Chris! When suddenly her boyfriend, Chris, approached her. What if this is the same universe as Nina the Killer? No, because she killed Chris. Never mind. Hey, talk to me after school, alright? She smiled. She loved talking to Chris. At the time, she didn't suspect anything. Chris was always sweet to her. I just realized the implication of those lines. At the time, she didn't suspect anything. Chris was always sweet to her. Implying that she should be suspecting something. And give the girl a fucking break already, alright? Give the girl a break. Come on. Ugh. During her French class, Natalie failed to pay attention. Instead, she doodled the things she loved to draw the most. Blood, gore, and people being stabbed. Knives, and macabre things of the sort. Others would say it was pretty dark of her to draw such things, but she saw nothing wrong with it. Horror art is awesome. For some strange reason, it actually felt like a normal thing to her. Miss Olette. She quickly covered the doodles on her paper and looked up at her French teacher quickly, trying to hide her fear. Yes, Miss Levasseur? With a slight turn of his head, he gestured for her to move her arm. Show me your work. She hesitantly moved her arm, showing her teacher the picture of someone getting stabbed by an insane man. The teacher stared puzzled, looking at her a bit. She smiled nervously. Erase that and get started on your work, he said in a strangely calm voice. He walked away, and she sighed and began to erase the picture. And Miss Olette, Mr. Levasseur interrupted. She looked up at him slightly. Your time is almost up to get your work done. I suggest doing it now. Okay, so there's some weird shit going on. That's the second teacher. So he was completely okay with her drawing gore, which, you know, people got interest, especially in arts. Like, yeah, it would bring up a few red flags. So if someone just likes drawing horror, that's all right. He seemed to take it in stride. But now he's also saying your time is up. So clearly something is happening, right? She growled at the remark. Time always seemed to be against her. As far as she was concerned, time could go fuck itself. After class, she walked out of the school to find her boyfriend standing near the fence on a sidewalk. She smiled and walked over, hoping he had something to say that would cheer her up on this miserable day. But as she walked closer, her smile slowly faded. He wasn't smiling back. Chris, what's wrong? What did you want to talk to me about? I hope it's just a breakup. I mean, it's sad, yes, but I hope it's not like... You know, I'd like, I mean, give her a break still, obviously, but, you know, much worse has happened. He sighed. Natalie, I think it's time that we should start seeing other people. She felt her heart break. But, why? Natalie cried, and he responded with a stern look. It's your mindset, your drawings, they just creep me out. I think there's really something wrong with you, and the saddest part is that you haven't told me why you're acting like this. It makes me feel irresponsible, so I just can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. And with that, he walked away. Natalie slammed her hands on the bathroom counter at home. She stared at herself in the mirror, her eye twitching. I won't hurt myself like the others. I can stay strong. There was a needle and black thread in her hand. It's pointless. It doesn't help. Some weird sensation pulled at her subconscious. She chuckled slightly. Hold on, I'm gonna cough. Excuse me. No, I'm doing it because I want to. She held up the needle with thread on the end of it and smirked. Time's up. Piece after piece, cut after cut. Even though excruciating pain was going through her, she did not whine. She did not whimper, and she did not cry. There were no more tears to shed. All she did was smile. Blood leaked from the pierces and made a low, dripping noise into the sink and onto the counter. When she was finished, she stood back and admired her handiwork. She stroked the horrendous stitches on the side of her mouth, which spread into a wide smile. She felt the warm, wet blood on her fingers and licked it gently, consuming the metallic-tasting liquid in pure ecstasy. She stopped when she saw her mother's reflection in the mirror behind her, and sharply turned around. She saw her mother's wide eyes and pale face, and she looked at her fingers, seeing the blood. She suddenly felt the pain and began to cry. "Mom?" Natalie cried. She never felt so confused. What had just happened to her? Her mother had scheduled some therapy for her. Natalie had not gotten rid of the stitches in fear of how much pain it would bring, so she went to the session with them. She made sure her hood was up to not let anyone see, and she sat down on the comfortable leather seat and stared at the blonde woman across from her in silence. "So your name is Natalie, isn't it?" Natalie nodded. "I'm Deborah, and I'm here to help. Now tell me, Natalie, what has been some of your problems recently?" Natalie stared. Time. Time has been my problem." Deborah gave her a confused look. I would too, as well. I think that I don't understand where that is the conclusion that you make from all the trauma that you've been through. Why is she focusing so hard on the "your time is up" bit and not the horrible... Whatever. "What about time, dear?" Natalie's hands roughly gripped the leather of the seat. "Everything. It makes you live through it, slowly progressing through life, being controlled by society, only to be tortured to seemingly no end until you find you no longer have a purpose. It's a vicious circle. Time does not end, it does not slow down, it does not speed up. It's violent. It makes you live through the torture over and over again, unable to fast forward through any of it." That is a weird... I mean, I get it. I get the idea. That is a weird conclusion to come to, and also, we live in a society. Are you the Joker? The therapist leaned in closer. "Sweetheart, I want you to tell me what's happened to you." Natalie continued staring. There was a long pause. She smirked slightly, the wounds from her stitches opening slightly once again. "Why don't you tell me, Blondie? You're the expert." Oh, she's sassy now. She's got a bit of sass. Okay. Deborah appeared mildly annoyed. Okay, you can't let it... Shouldn't a therapist be able to like, stay calm in any situation? Because, you know, there are going to be some patients that are going to give you some snark. Whatever. "Natalie isn't here anymore." With that, Deborah's eyes widened as she rose to her feet. "I'll be right back. Please stay here." And she walked out, leaving Natalie alone. Bruh. My brother in Christ. What do you... So, okay. So she was like, "Natalie, what do you mean?" And then she was like, "Oh, Natalie isn't here anymore." And then the therapist is like, "All right, fuck this shit, I'm out." Like, what the fuck? What kind of therapist are you? You're supposed to work through this shit, not just dip. Got her fucking PhD in a cereal box. Maybe if she had done something at this point, she wouldn't have come to be what she is today. Maybe more people would be alive, and maybe she would be sane like she had been before. They're blaming the therapist walking out on her, which is absurd, yes, for her becoming a serial killer. Obsessed with time. For some reason. That's her MO. She's suddenly the time killer. As much as I would love to say that Natalie got up from that chair and stopped what came next from happening, I'm obliged to give you the horrid truth. Why is the story written like this now? Natalie did not move. She sat perfectly still in total silence and absolutely calm. In that chair. And after a while of waiting impatiently, her parents walked in. Natalie stood, happy to go, but she noticed her parents' expressions. Even her father had a strange, saddened expression on his face. Her confusion grew, but she said nothing and followed them to the car. On the way, while she thought she was going back home, she started to drift off. Strangely, she heard a dark voice speak in her dream. It almost sounded like her own, echoing into an eternal abyss. Your time is up. She shot awake, some beads of sweat rolling down her face. She wasn't home. She wasn't in the car. She was in a bed. A white bed in a white room. Oh my god. She looked to her side and realized she was hooked up to a heart monitor. She attempted to get up, but that's when she realized she was restrained. She panicked and began to struggle. Oh my god, they institutionalized her. She went to one therapy session, said Natalie isn't here anymore, and they institutionalized her instantaneously. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean that's what they did to her? Why? She began to struggle, but paused when she heard the door open to her left. A man in a white shirt looked at her, his hands behind his back. He resembled one of those cliched doctors you would see in a television program set in a scientific lab. She paid full attention as Mr. Scientist started to speak. Wait, this isn't some sort of like secret laboratory where they like replace her eye with a clock, is it? Because that's like her thing. She has like a clock for an eye for one of her eyes. I'm pretty sure. Damn, she had one therapy session and just, yep, you're crazy. She didn't even say anything that nutty. I mean, yeah, saying, oh, Natalie isn't here anymore is like nutty, but like they fucking institutionalized her on the spot, like instantaneously. What in the fuck? Oh my god. I can only imagine how very confused you must be right now. So am I, he said. But I'm letting you know we're only here to help. Your parents agreed to allow us to administer medication to you in hopes of helping your state of mind. Bro, this what they jumped to like like therapy is like a 50. Therapy is like a 50. They jumped from like sane is 0, therapy is 50. Or like, you know, happy thoughts is 0. Going to therapy is like a 50. They jumped from 50 to 100 real quick. They institutionalized her in a snap. You don't need to worry. The doctor sought to reassure her. You'll be back to normal in no time. Just try to relax. I like that this is starting to get funny. It's starting to wash away the horrors of earlier. He walked over, and as he did, she tried to skittishly move away, but was unable to due to the leather straps binding her wrists and legs. He carefully took a mask and put it over her mouth and nose. Are they giving her surgery? She stubbornly tried to get it off, but felt herself starting to slip under as the drugs kicked in, and slowly her eyes shut. Oh my god, are they actually doing like she's a science experiment and that's why she has a clock for an eye or something? Where is this going? Suddenly, Natalie woke up. She couldn't comprehend what she was seeing. She was being given multiple injections and something was being rubbed on her skin. She felt woozy, but was otherwise completely aware of her surroundings. She was entering a rare state patients sometimes find themselves in while undergoing surgery. Why is she undergoing surgery? In which they're able to see as they're being worked on. In this state, they can feel the pain and their brain is active, but they're unable to respond. Natalie, however, was able to. Her heart rate began to accelerate as reflected on the nearby monitor, and the doctors took notice of this. They looked at her and took notice of her opened eyes. Why are they giving her surgery? Okay. Can we just recap the events that have happened in like these last 3 paragraphs? She went to therapy because she stitched her own mouth shut. Okay, yeah, she like stitched the edges of her mouth. She got therapy. Sent her to therapy. She goes to therapy. She has one conversation with the doctor for like 3 minutes. The doctor's like, oh shit, we gotta institutionalize her. They institutionalize her. She's like in an asylum now or something. And now they're operating on her? What the fuck are they trying to do? Pull the crazy out? What is the point of the operation? What the fuck? Yes, you see, she's what we like to call cuckoo crazy. So we're gonna perform the autopsy on her, the autopsy where we pull out the crazy glands, and she'll be right as rain. You all understand. It's like it's the only way I can explain this is it's like a fucking illegal organ harvesting asylum or some shit. Like what in the fuck? Oh my god! One of the doctors yelled at another. Natalie couldn't make out what they were saying, but she suddenly felt a rush of adrenaline. Shaking violently, she slowly started to slip out of her bonds. One of the doctors moved to hold her down, but but then hesitated to do so. Natalie watches all three doctors backed away in unison. Wait. Okay. So she's strapped to a table because she's institutionalized, like really strapped down. She woke up from surgery and is somehow breaking her straps. What? This is dog shit. This is stupid. She sat on the edge of the bed in the IV tubes in her arm and the mask from her face. What? She sat on the edge of the bed and the IV tubes from her arm and the mask from her face. That's how it's written. That is exactly how it is written. She got to her feet and started to stumble towards them. You're cut open. Well, what kind of surgery were they doing on her? I guess they were just jabbing her with needles and like rubbing lotion into her skin or some shit. They didn't necessarily say that she was cut open. Why do you need to knock her out to give her medicine? So it's the medicine. They called it a surgery, but they're giving her medicine. What medicine for psychosis is administered through a bunch of injections, as they wrote, and a skin cream? What? New rubbable diazepam. Rub it right on your skin. Keep those thoughts out. Keep the demons from getting out. She got to her feet and started to stumble towards them. Her breath hitched and her vision was blurry. She was vaguely aware by then that she was chuckling like a madman. But suddenly she felt searing pain in her chest. She gripped her chest in agony and dropped to her knees. She coughed up blood, fell prostrate on the floor, and blacked out. That's how it's written. Natalie woke up slowly and groggily sometime later. She found herself back in bed and a doctor sitting beside it. I'm so sorry, Natalie. Something went horribly wrong. Natalie didn't know why, but she felt a tremendous amount of hatred towards the doctor. He took notice of her disgust and looked away instinctively. You weren't supposed to wake up while we were giving you the doses of your mental state. What? You weren't supposed to wake up while we were giving you the doses of your mental states? What, they were just injecting her with pure sanity? What the fuck is this story? The doctor continued. We aren't sure how it affected you, but we have a feeling we're gonna find out. He paused for a moment before taking out a small mirror. The entire time he looked away from her. Regrettably, the medication impacted your appearance as well. Natalie looked at herself in the mirror. Alright, you ready for the cool, edgy... Are you ready for the cool, edgy, badass, like, serial killer look? I bet you the eyes are gonna be green. Her eyes widened. Her eyes were completely green! I called it! Jeff the Killer's got green eyes. Nina the Killer's got green eyes. Sally has green eyes, although she's not a serial killer. That's just a tragic story. Fucking, I don't know if Tiki Toby had green eyes. He probably had green eyes. No, I think he had hazel eyes. I think he's the only murder child who doesn't have green eyes. I think the fucking hoodie guy has green eyes. They all have green eyes. Wait a minute. I have green eyes. And in middle school, I was an edgy teen who hated everyone. Is this a pattern? Is this a pattern in people? Well, I guess it's a good thing that I wasn't institutionalized immediately so I could become Kyle the Slaughterer or whatever the fuck. You have green eyes too? And are you an edgy murderer as well? Of the two of you, of everyone in chat right now, are you edgy murderers? My God, I'm gonna read while I await your responses. Her eyes were completely green. That's right. I'm still edgy, but I haven't killed anyone. Yet. My God. Ooh, YouTube? What the fuck is YouTube doing? Nothing I gotta worry about. She noticed she still had the stitches in her mouth. Why didn't the doctors take... Okay. As well, but for some reason she couldn't help but feel overjoyed. Her heart rate began to rise again. She gave a low chuckle. The doctor looked on in shock as Natalie quickly moved towards him. I thought she was strapped to the bed until she was close enough for him to feel her breath. Doctor? she began, still chuckling. He trembled slightly and pressed the button on the underside of the monitor. Yes, he stammered in reply. Your time is up. A loud scream was heard through the halls of the facility. 2 security guards rushed into the room, kicking open the door. Blood! Blood was the first thing they saw. Blood on the walls, on the bed, on the floor, even on the ceiling. What the fuck did she do to this guy? Natalie had strapped the doctor to her bed. The bed was bent at a sharp angle, and the doctor's spine was completely snapped. Blood poured out from his eyes, nose, and mouth. Did she get fucking super strength? And there, in the corner, was the murderer, happily drawing her gruesome pictures on the wall in blood, along with the hastily scrawled phrase, "Your time is up." Natalie slowly turned to look at the guards, and a wide, crazy grin spread across her face. Hello, friends. Would you like to play? And with that, Natalie began laughing uncontrollably. The guards quickly drew their guns, but before... I mean, good call at this point, yeah. But before they could act, Natalie charged at one of them. What is with these creepypasta characters and being faster than a fucking bullet? Jane the Killer was dodging them like fucking Neo from the Matrix, like literally dodging them. At least in Jeff the Killer, it was like, oh, they, like the original, they missed all of their shots. And Jeff the Killer, oh, Troy Keith, whatever, they missed all their shots. In fucking, Tiki Toby, well, it wasn't even a gun in Tiki Toby. He was able to go uncontested. In this one, they pulled the guns, but they never got a shot off, as far as I know yet. In Nina the Killer, it literally states that she dodges the bullets as they come out of the gun. This is before her face was burnt, so she could be like her love, Jeff the Killer. But, like, what is with these creepypasta characters being faster than a gun? Like, why? But before they could act, Natalie charged one of them. One of the guards fired a round, but Natalie was able to dodge it. Okay, never mind. She's also Neo from the Matrix. She's also she can also dodge bullets. She quickly dodged the bullet. You want to know the weird part? The weird part is this is the only character who I could actually believe could manage that. Because Nina the Killer was just like an 11-year-old girl. She feels like a superhuman right now because she, like, eviscerated the doctor. She somehow broke his spine in a way that splattered his blood everywhere. So, like, she's gotta be a superhuman, right? After they injected her? That's what happened, right? I'm grasping at straws for any sense. But that had to be it, right? The medicine they gave her, because the guy said... No, because her eyes are green now. They weren't green before. The guy said that the medicine has some other effects that we'll find out. It has to be some weird super serum. She's a superhuman now, so it makes sense that she can dodge a bullet, right? Or am I grasping at straws? That has to be it. The edgy stories are edgy to be edgy. I mean, yes. Correct. That's why Hoodie exists. That's why Jeff the Killer exists. Hoodie was so fucking funny. I put on a hoodie and I got so much confidence I felt like Black Spider-Man and then I killed people. Like, that was the whole story. No, she has to be a superhuman. That's the only explanation I got. She grabbed a large knife from the sheath on his pocket and slashed it right across his waistline. Blood and organs flooded out. Okay, the force she would need to do that, she's superhuman, confirmed. And he collapsed to the ground. She inhaled deeply, loving the damp stench of death. The remaining guard shook with fear and dropped his gun. She slowly walked up to him and placed the tip of the knife against his chest. Your time is up. She slowly slid the knife down his chest, all the way to the end of his abdomen. His organs spilled out onto the floor and he collapsed dead. Dude, like... Natalie's mother had been sleeping soundly in her room beside her husband. She woke to the sound of knocking on her door. She groggily got up and walked out of the bedroom into the front door. It was pouring outside and thunder boomed in the distance. Okay, I'm gonna finish reading. I just got hit with like a wave of annoyance at the whole thing that I read earlier. Like, the whole institutionalization into being injected into being a super... Like, it just hit me how absolutely stupid that chain of events is. I'm just gonna continue. I'm just... She approached the door but paused before grabbing the knob. She detected a faint sound of insane laughter. The rain and thunder seemed to quiet down suddenly. You just realized it was stupid? No, I knew it was stupid. I knew it was stupid. It just hit me how fucking stupid. Like, they institutionalized her, and then the schizophrenia medication or whatever the fuck they were injecting her with gave her superpowers. Oh my god, she pressed her ear against the door and listened closely. "Hello, Mother," a voice from the other side called out. Natalie burst through the door, wielding 2 knives, all Kimbo style! Her mother stumbled back, hitting her head against the nearby coat rack. One of the hooks penetrated her skull, and she bled. She didn't even get, like, pushed into it or, like, murdered. She fell back in fear. And she got her skull caved in by a fucking coat rack, by a coat hook. Oh my god. Bled considerably from the resulting wound. She fell to the ground paralyzed, but still conscious. Oh, she's not dead yet. Lying in a pool of her own blood. Natalie towered over her and then knelt slowly to meet her mother at eye level and displayed her blood-soaked blades proudly. "I was suffering, Mother," Natalie cooed. She ran the tip of the knife across her mother's cheek, cutting it slightly. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not going to, because I've already been incriminated enough when I read the fucking cupcake story. Natalie tilted her head. "But you did nothing." All her mother could do was shake and gasp, like a fish out of water. Natalie grabbed her mother and gently laid her flat on the ground. From there, she straddled her and began cutting a V into her chest. What the fuck does V have to do with anything? Her mother could only gasp as and shake as the life drained from her. She choked and gurgled, and her breaths became labored. Natalie knew she didn't have much time left. She proceeded to forcibly open her mother... No, I shouldn't be laughing, murder. She proceeded to forcibly open her mother's chest cavity with a loud crack, reaching in and grabbed her mother's still beating heart. "Kalima!" with her bare hand. Its pulses were growing farther and farther apart. Suddenly, she ripped it out, blood spraying all over her face. She stared at her mother directly in the face as she took her final breaths. "Sweet dreams," she said to her mother's corpse. "Your time was up." She put the heart into her mother's mouth, patted her cheek softly as she stood up. She wasn't done yet. Dude, even Jeff didn't go this crazy. Jeff didn't go this hard with his murders. Jeff just stabbed them. She's going all out. She's making an art out of it. Natalie's father, David, had... Sorry, I gotta rein it in. Natalie's father, David, had stirred awake and had realized that his wife had not returned to bed yet. His eyes had only just adjusted to the darkness, when he suddenly noticed Natalie standing at his bedside. With a crazed smirk plastered on her face, and her newly green-tinted eyes glowing in the darkness. They glow as well. Yeah, she's a fucking superhuman. She was covered... Excuse me. She was covered in blood, and the scent was unbearable. I don't know, blood doesn't smell that bad. She frowned dramatically. "Oh dear, Mother's gone. I wonder who will get the money," Natalie jeered. She swiftly grabbed her father's forehead, laughing maniacally. "That's all you ever cared about anyway." Her father, unlike... Oh yeah, because he rambles on about the economy all the time. Was that the setup? Was that the setup for why she killed him? Because she's like, "Your greed sickens me," because he yammers about the economy all day. Her father, unlike her mother, was a fighter, and he sprung up and grabbed Natalie by the neck and threw her to the ground. "Fight!" He started to stomp on her chest until she coughed up blood, and he stared down at her. "Doesn't it feel good, Daddy?" She laughed in spite of the violence and coughed up more blood. After all, you never seemed to mind doing it all those years ago, did you? He narrowed his eyes. You aren't my daughter! A wide smirk spread across her face, and she peered at him with her luminous eyes, blood dripping down her mouth. You're right, I'm not! She suddenly tripped him, How, causing him to fall hard on the floor. She scrambled to her feet, knives at hand. They say the bigger you are, the harder they fall. Oh my god. While he was winded, she grabbed a pillow and stuffed it into his face, and then stomped on it. Wouldn't that just soften the blow? I mean, a little bit, but harder and harder until a loud cracking noise could be heard. When she finally pulled the pillow away, her father's face was gruesomely mutilated, and he was making muffled noises and crying in agony. Oh my god, why do I find this so fucking funny? Because it's dumb, because it's stupid. What's the matter, Daddy? Pain too much for you? She shoved both knives into his stomach and left them there, then moved to rip one of the large, heavy wooden poles from the bed, superhuman strength. She set it down on her father's legs and withdrew the knives. I'm gonna need these, she chuckled. Oh, fucking Redditor dialogue. She sat down upon the pole on his legs, and suddenly she started to roll back while sitting down. The weight from her body on the pole slowly started to squeeze his innards up through his Oh, I see what she's doing. Oh my god, this is so fucking stupid. So she stabbed him in the stomach with her knives to, like, open him, and then she put a pole by his legs, and now she's rolling it up like a rolling pin to squeeze out his intestines through the 2 stab wounds on his chest. First of all, that's not how that would work. First of all. And second of all, I mean, she has super strength, so I guess she makes it work somehow. Oh my fucking god. Dude. What the fuck? He started to gag and blood poured from his mouth. His breath was silenced, and she hit a bit of a snag. Come on, she snarled as she forced herself to rock back with more weight. Suddenly his organs burst out of his mouth. That's not how that works! It's not even to come out of the wounds in his chest. She literally just pushed the pole on his stomach so hard he vomited his organs out. Oh my god. This is the most amazing dogshit stupid thing I've ever read in my life. The nasty gore piled up on the floor and the side of his face. She nodded to his carcass and started to walk out. Your time was up, Daddy. Alright, I'm sick of your fucking catchphrase already. Finally, this would be her favorite part. Oh, her brother. She quietly snuck down to her brother's room, silently opening the door. Blood dripped from her knife, making a low tapping sound as the droplets hit the hard wood. Her brother wasn't in bed. It was apparent that he must be hiding somewhere. Why didn't he call the police? If he knew what was going down, why didn't he call the... She grinned. Well, it doesn't matter. She's a superhuman. She would just dodge the bullets like fucking Neo, zip between every shot and, like, annihilate the police force. She'd be a GTA 5 protagonist. Oh my god. It was apparent, yeah. Oh, dear brother, come now. She started to walk inside. All I want to do is have a little fun. That's what's written. As she stepped in more, she listened closely for any sounds, any breathing, any moving. She even sniffed the air for his putrid scent. She's a bloodhound now. And the closer she listened, she finally noticed something. A faint breathing noise. Whack! She fell to the ground, trembling. Her brother was behind her with a now bloodied baseball bat. He was glaring down in anger, panting in rage. She tried to slowly get up, but he hit her again and again and again. Mother always did like you best, you bitch! Jesus. He hit her hard one last time before taking a breather. She was bleeding heavily. Her green eyes drooped and glowing faintly in the darkness. She felt weak and looked closer up at the ceiling. She recalled the days she had spent in here, being tortured, having to go through it for 4 years. Looking at the same damned ceiling, in a sudden rush of energy into her body, she started to stand, laughing insanely, and the laugh is written out here, so I'm contractually obliged. Her brother went to hit her again, but used both of her knives. She used both of her knives to block. She blocked a baseball bat with 2 knives. You're going to hell, brother! Every other letter is capitalized. With a large push, she sent her brother flying on the bed. He hit his head against the wall and growled angrily, about to lunge at her, when she stabbed the 2 knives into his arms to keep them pinned to the wall. Another crucifixion, alright. He screamed and struggled rapidly. Like, in general, in creepypasta history, there's a lot of crucifixions in these for some reason. Let's see what we can use here. She started walking around the room and smirked, seeing a simple butter knife on his bedside. Why does he have a butter knife on his bed? You have 2 perfectly good knives in his arms. Just use those. You're going extra, you psycho bitch. She picked it up and walked over to him. They say that the eyes are the softest organ on the body. She slowly licked the knife. Soft as butter. What? He looked... Oh my god, he looked in horror, trying to get away. As she started to dig out his eyes with the knife, he shrieked loudly, but she quickly tied a cloth around his mouth. Now, we can't have the neighbors waking, we can't have you waking the neighbors. He wasn't able to see anything. The pain was unbearable. Blood leaked violently from his eye sockets. He would cry, but now incapable. She dug around for more items and picked up a pair of scissors. She walked over to him, crawling over to him. I think you need to cut loose, brother. She stabbed the scissors into his gut. What is with these cringe-ass one-liners? She stabbed the scissors into his gut, and he cried out a muffled scream of pain. Oh my god. She treated him like arts and crafts, cutting through his skin like paper. Every night I have paper bones, paper skin and glass bones. She lifted up his large intestine and smirked wickedly. Oh my god, don't go the fucking cupcakes route and fucking floss with them now. You know what I love? Macaroni art! She started to cut the intestines into sections. These might be a little too big to put on a plate, though. She could hear his brother foaming blood from the mouth. Here? However, he had to swallow the blood back because of the cloth around his mouth. Doesn't that taste good? She licked his blood off her fingers. I'm sure I'm having an aneurysm. I'm having like a fucking I'm like atrophying right now. I literally can't get the fucking... I sure know I like it. He let out another muffled scream. She went down to his toes and started cracking them and ripping them off, one by one. After a while, his screams grew futile. His throat was raw and bloody now. Next, she worked on his fingers, snapping them and ripping them off slowly. The gurgling became louder, and he started to squirm. He was choking on his own blood. He should have been doing that a long time ago. Quite frankly, he should be dead already, but we'll keep going, I suppose. She pulled the cloth down, and blood poured from his mouth, and turned his head to the side and vomited violently. There, brother, she said, patting his head. Eat this and feel better. She stuffed one of his fingers into his mouth, making it jam into his throat. He choked and slowly died. Your time was up. Oh my god, dude. The girl, known as Natalie, walking into her room dripping blood. Off to the corner, she saw it. Her stuffed giraffe. She knelt down and stared at it. Then, without a word, she stood back up and walked to the bathroom. Staring at herself, covered in blood, she heard a faint ticking noise. She looked down and saw a pocket watch, just conveniently in the bathroom. She stared at its hand slowly turning, listening to the ticking for what seemed like an eternity. She took out one of her now red knives as it heavily dripped blood onto the counter. She grabbed the pocket watch and disassembled the watch with only the small clock was left. Time makes you live through torture, she said, slowly bringing the knife up to her eye. Slowly progressing through life, being controlled by society. We live in a society, Batman. She started to slowly dig it into her eye as the vision of her left eye grew blurry and red. Oh, you're a superhuman. You should still be able to see through it. Bullshit. Fraud. Unless you find you no longer have a purpose. She felt her eye start to come free from its socket, blood pouring in the sink. It's a vicious circle. She's having a literal villain monologue right now, dude. She felt it dangle out of her socket, a sharp pain where it was connecting in her head. Time does not speed up. It does not slow down. It is violent. She grabbed onto the cord of her eye and tore it right off, the eye falling into the sink. It makes you live through the torture over and over again. She started to place the clock in her eye, unable to fast forward away from it. There was a squishing sound and drips of blood until it seemed like the clock fit perfectly in her socket. Oh my god! I am Clockwork! She named herself! She gave herself a supervillain name. It's not like oh my god. She gave herself a supervillain name. She literally gave a villain speech and gave herself a supervillain name. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Bro. Holy shit. Oh my god, it's not over yet. What do you mean it's not over yet? It's almost over. We have 2 more paragraphs. Oh my god. Holy shit. The young 16-year-old girl, formerly known as Natalie, walked away from her burning house. The flames, of course she set her fucking house on fire. The flames engulfed everything, and inside the giraffe slowly burned along with the carcasses of her family. Some say she still lives on, carrying her insanity with her, leaving so many dead, saying she decided when their time should come to an end. The only way to detect her presence is if you're cuddled close in the covers at night, sleeping soundly, but in the darkness she watches. She determines. You hear ticking, and you see a green flash of that putrid clock eye. If she is there, you know your time is up. That was Clockwork. Your time is up. Oh my god! Holy shit, that was so dog shit. Oh my god, this was worse than Jeff the Killer. This was actually worse than Jeff the Killer. Was it worse or it's better? Is it worse than Jeff the Killer, so it's funnier, so it's better? Is it better than Jeff the... Oh my, like the original Jeff the Killer, because I know I read the rewrite today. Oh my god, that was so bad. Holy shit, it was so cringe. It was very cringe. It was so edge cringe. Oh my god. Oh my god. Listen. I remember when I was in, I think, high school, when I still had a Twitter before I deleted it because Twitter was cringe, I used to talk to this girl who was also into creepypastas. We used to exchange creepypastas all the time when we talked to each other. She told me this was her favorite creepypasta. She told me that this was the best story she ever read. And when I said it was dumb, she crashed the fuck out and blocked me instantly.